Hey guys, welcome to our leaders or our workstation reports training. Say that 5 times fast with Michelle Snyder from home office. I am so excited for this. This is something that I kind of reached out to Michelle about. She is all things, I feel like technical reports, anything with workstation. She's very technical savvy, especially with the bar report and stuff like that for our leaders. But Michelle had joined consultant training and development in 2020, and she has 28 years of experience with direct sales. So I'm super excited for her to just walk us through and tell us all of the things. We're just going to be sponges tonight. So I'm going to just turn it over to you.
Okay. I don't know if we'll get to all of the things because there are so many things, right? But we're gonna do our best to kind of walk through the workstation reporting, kind of just starting at square one. So I know many of you, if not all of you, are probably in reporting every day, and you're seeing the numbers, you're doing all the things. Part of our goal this evening is to kind of all get on the same page with what the core features and functions are within Workstation so that you can access the information that you're looking for a little faster and easier, to narrow things down, because it can be there's so much information in reporting. It's a wonderful tool. I do get very excited, as Whitney mentioned. I have 28 years of experience in direct sales, and for 25 of those, I was an independent consultant like you with a different company. And so the reports, I get really excited because I was also a school teacher at the same time. And so like some of you and many of the people that you lead on your team, you have windows of time, right? Little windows where you go in and you're trying to be as productive as you can in small amounts of time. And using these core features and functions in the reporting section of your workstation can really help with that. To get rid of everything that's distracting, really help you narrow in on what you need to find and how to use that to create meaningful conversations with your team members. So we're going to kind of start at the beginning. I know some things will be familiar, so I would encourage you to be listening maybe in two ways. One of those is for things that might especially be helpful to you in your personal business. And one of those, the other way, would be to kind of be listening with ears for how you might come alongside someone new as you are onboarding, whether it's new consultants or supporting new leaders, and how to explain things to them. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes, does it ever happen to you? You get so used to going in, you're in those reports, you know this stuff, and you're on autopilot, right? Just click, 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 you know what? And to come back through and rethink now, what did that feel like on that first day when I opened up my workstation and went, oh my goodness, what are all those numbers, right? So be listening in two ways, in case something might be helpful to you in that training process, in addition to what you need for your personal business. Okay, and we're also going to be, casual chat. We're going to move pretty quickly, but casual chat. So if you have a question, please let me know so that I don't just get going here and miss something that would be helpful to you. All right, so the workstation, of course, is your consultant toolbox, and it's full of so many great resources. That reporting section can be really helpful for helping you identify where to invest your energy, both for your personal business, to be paid at title, and also to be working towards those next promotions, but to also be identifying people who are in process and what they need to be to meeting those requirements as well. So we're going to actually start at the very beginning. I'm going to share my screen. Oops, I almost left the meeting. Let me try this again. Oh, Whitney, there it says that it's not going to let me share. There's a button somewhere, Sylvia. Can you help us? I can't see it in this view either. we just need to, right now it says that it's disabled. I'm just kind of catching up on the chat here. Katrina, so glad you were able to do the bar certification. That's fantastic. Okay.
Sorry about that. Hold on 1 minute.
That's okay.
I'm gonna get you situated.
Okay. So I'll just kind of keep chatting here a little bit while we're getting that ready to go. So as you were thinking about, we mentioned that autopilot mode that we kind of go in when we're familiar with something, right? And so as we get started here and you're looking for little things that can be a light bulb, some things will feel very, very basic to you, especially as you're more familiar with that workstation area. But even little things can be empowering to somebody who's just trying to figure it out. And let's see here. Awesome, Nikki, you did the bar too. And you were Boston, fantastic. That is so great. World tour, everybody did their world tour thing. Yes, and taking some moments to go visit the event site so you can listen to the rest of those presentation breakouts. Great.
Can you see if it works now, Michelle?
Yes, let's give it a try. We are good to go. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so just give me a thumbs up when you can see a PowerPoint there. We're all good? Fantastic. Okay, so remember I said we were going to start with the very, very beginning. You go into your workstation, of course, you go to that reporting section and you see something that looks like this. For a brand new consultant or somebody just kind of looking here, even this can be like, what am I taking in? I have to tell you, 2 years ago when I was just getting used to all the things here, this will seem very silly to you, I'm sure, but it was a light bulb moment for me. And that's how basic I want you to kind of be listening for to help your new team members. But over here on the left side, of course, is that menu bar, right? With all the different options. Up here in the top left corner is that little icon. And when you click on that icon, you minimize the screen. That, you minimize that sidebar. Feels like the littlest thing and so silly, but in the reporting section, it's super helpful because it allows you to have more visibility of your reports left and right in the screen. You can see more information, have less scrolling. So even something small like that can be things to orient new people to that workstation experience. Okay, once you are in reporting, of course, there are 3 different sections. Your sales report section, which of course has your customer purchase history, potential reorders, all of those things that you're familiar with, but it also is the place where you'll find that little hidden gem we call the bar, which doesn't have to do with your sales reports at all. But if you have not had opportunity to take a look at that, I'd really encourage you to go visit that report. We have training and multiple different kinds of training options on that report, but it is a one-stop 4-year at a glance without needing to do any parameters. That's a lot of really helpful information. Then of course there's the team section that gives you all of those sales and top team sales, top team sponsors, your trends, birthdays, anniversaries, all of those things. And then of course, my performance. My performance is where we're going to spend our time this evening. And this section lets you see all the activity and all the different areas of your business for you, your team, your group, all of those things. Now, before we jump in here, every time I go to the My Performance section, there are 2 particular things that I keep in mind. And so I want to encourage you to keep these 2 things in mind as we're jumping in here. The first one is that I am specifically looking at my reports for data that helps me celebrate what is happening. So we're looking for the things that are maybe goals that have been met, or things that team members have accomplished, or new steps that have been taken. Anything that we can celebrate that is currently happening, whether it's in your business or your team member's business, okay? The second thing that I'm always looking for are things that I can highlight that point out what could be happening. So it's twofold. We want to celebrate what is happening, and we want to highlight what could be happening. And that means you, as the leader, have opportunity right here to come alongside and inspire potential. And when you are using your reports in this area and using the core functions and features we're going to talk about tonight, it allows you to interact with team members at all levels. So not just the top, because you never know when a certified or a lead is your next person who doesn't maybe necessarily see themselves as moving their business forward, but you'll be able to see what's happening and highlight the possibilities. Okay, so you're helping them to target those things, create action plans, even some coaching possibilities, pinpoint people in motion. Okay, that's everything, all that stuff that could be happening. So keep those two things in mind. We're going to celebrate what is happening, and we're going to highlight what could be happening. So back to our My Performance section. We're going to, if you were actually in your workstation right now, what you see on the screen would be similar to if you had clicked on Start Leadership Report. Okay. Now, the one thing that you'll notice that's different about what you see on the screen right now and what you normally see is there are no names, no consultant ID numbers. They're not where you're from, not any of that. Okay. So technically there would be more information on here than what you see right now, but we've kind of taken all of the personal elements out so that we can talk about all of these numbers respectfully, right? Okay. So let's take a look at the menu option that you have within the reporting system here on the left. Let's take a little closer look at what is the difference between a leadership report and a downline report. This question comes up a lot working with consultants. So that leadership report, it lets you view information for the consultants that are directly within your leadership responsibility. Okay, that means you might be able to see like a STAR director's name, but maybe not their whole team. Okay, and then a downline report is going to open that up farther. And that downline report lets you view information for the consultants that are in your whole group, including team director, STAR director, superstar. So you see a little more, a broader picture, a little more breakdown. Most of the time, I'm in the leadership report section, because if I'm thinking those people that you have that direct leadership responsibility for, that impacts your like first gen directors, that those things that most benefit you along the way too. And so that leadership report section is one we use often. You'll also see here in that menu bar that there are these two sections for saved reports. So in this section, every consultant has pre-built reports that Sensi has designed for you and placed in there, reports that are things that you'll want to keep an eye on often. So those sensational start, shooting star, those types of things that you use often, we've already pre-built for you. So it's just one click and you can open that up and take a look at that information. So these are there for everyone, okay? And no filtering or anything required because they're already all put together. So we'll talk a little bit more about some of those here in a few minutes. But let's get back to that leadership report. In this leadership report, there are some core features and functions that help you to narrow your report and access specific information. So we're just going to take a quick walk through what you see here, starting with the date at the top, where you have month and year. Now, when you open your report, of course, you all know that what you see when you open a report is the current month and year, right? That's the default. Every time you open that report. So right now, when you open your report, you're going to see March 2022. You also have the option to click on that date and open this drop-down box. That drop-down box lets you choose whatever month and year you want to look at, so you can have a specific report for that particular month and year. You also have the option to select a range. And so you can choose multiple months, and you're probably familiar with this. You just hold that shift key down, click the boxes for all the months you want, and you can have a range of months data come together when you run that report. Okay. A new consultant or a new leader that's just getting in there, getting familiar with it, may not know about that shift key, and that can be one of those magic moments. So keep that shift key in mind, because it will give you a date range. And we'll come back to this in just a moment about when some of those ranges might be particularly helpful. So let's go over here to the view. You have an option for 3 different types of views. When you click on that, you get this drop-down box. The one you're used to looking at, which comes up automatically, is what we call the group. The group view is the default. And then you also have team and tree. No matter which of those you choose, you'll have the same data. It's just organized in different ways. So for example, that tree view puts everything, kind of groups it all together by leaders, by uplines. And then you click a drop-down box to see farther down into that tree or that branch, okay? But with the group, you just see everybody, and you don't have to try to remember. Let's say you wanted to look at, I'm just going to make something up here. So let's say we want to look at Samantha's report information, and she's in your 3rd level. If you don't remember how to get to Samantha, that can make the tree view complicated. So group is nice and easy. It's a little more intuitive to work with. And so that's why we recommend that one and put that in the default. All right, so we keep going along here. Additional filter options. This is where we get to start narrowing things down. Additional filter options, you click that. Of course, this is the screen that you see. I would guess, if I can't see all of your hands right now, but I'm sure probably all of you have kind of experimented in there, putting in those minimum and maximum ranges to help you narrow your search to specific things. So you also have some consultants aren't aware of how this join date functions. It's also a minimum and maximum range, but specific to when people joined Sensi. So for example, if you wanted to, let's say there was again, making things up, right? Okay, let's say there was a May promotion and you wanted to be able to run a report that only was looking at the people who joined that month during that promotion. So in the minimum box, you're going to put May 1st of 21, 22, whichever. And then in the maximum box, you would put the last day of the month. So you put the first day, last day of the month. When you click run report, that is all you will see. It will only be the consultants that joined in that time period. So just to help us talk about some other functions, we're going to do an example together. And so we're running a filtering that down by PRV. So we're at 200 in the minimum, 499 in the maximum. We click run report, and it looks like this. Now, one thing you can't tell specifically right now is that a moment ago, when I opened up the leadership report, it was showing me everyone in my group. So it actually went on for pages. Even though you could only see one screen, there were many pages. Because I put in this range in the PRV, there are literally now only 15. So instead of many, many pages of team members, now it has narrowed it down to only 15. And they are the 15 whose PRV is in that particular range. Okay. So how would being able to create that range for PRV be helpful to you? You can unmute and jump in. Seeing who's active. Okay, upcoming leaders. So that 200 to 499 range is what we have right now. You'll notice that the PRV is all just randomly listed. We have a sort feature that will help you be able to look at it a little easier. And so if you click the PRV, that title at the top of the box, click that one time, and that will put everything into descending order. That means it's going to put the largest at the top. Okay. If you click it twice, it will put it in ascending order. And so that is something to let your new leaders and people know about, that click once, largest to smallest, click twice, smallest to largest. And so why would something like that, how would that sort feature make this a little bit easier to work with? Let's look at it this way. Let's say this is the page that we're looking at. Okay, I've got it sorted in descending order. And I'm going to go back to my two questions. I'm looking for things I can celebrate. Looking at this list, this report as it is, what can I celebrate? If I'm looking to create conversation with my team members, right? Let's say I just got home from school. We've got the family fed, kids are doing their homework. I've got 15 minutes. I can go in, run a quick report, and reach out to 5 team members a day. And I want to reach out and I want to celebrate. What can we celebrate? Okay, Amanda, it could be who has the highest PRV. Okay, asking them to share how they're doing it. How are they getting that? Absolutely. What other things can you celebrate here? Top 10 PRV, who's close to 500 PRV. In just a moment, I mean, a split second, one click, I can easily see who's getting close, right? So when, let's take just a side note here. The date on this report, we've got September 2020. That means this is a closed month, right? This one's done. There's not a thing we can do about it. What do you notice about the very first consultant listed on this report? Their PRV. Okay, it was almost 500. Okay, it was painfully like, this is like, oh my goodness, this is 7 PRV, right? That hurts a little bit when they're that close. So when would be a good time of the month to maybe run this report? Not when it's over, right? When would be a good time? Okay, mid-month maybe. Yep. Earlier, so that you could reach out and say that celebration conversation. Hey, did you notice that you are 7 PRV away from making that 500 this month? You know, so celebrating that they're close, that they're active, and then highlighting the possibility and helping them hit that goal. So creating conversations with your team members. Okay, so let's keep going here. One thing to note, Not everyone realizes that the words that are in between buttons are also kind of buttons. So there is a resort order button. And so if you have been sorting things and, descending, ascending, moving things around on your columns, you can clear all that out just with one click, hit that reset sort order, and that'll take you right back to where you were at the beginning. Okay. Let's go back to those additional filter options and talk about all titles for just a moment. The default on every report here is all titles, which means that if you open up that drop-down box, it has every single title selected for your team members. But you can also click on the words all titles and change it to custom selection. So let's imagine a scenario. Maybe this is true for some of you, that maybe you have some lead consultants, star consultants, and superstar consultants. You've identified this group of consultants on your team that you really want to focus in on so that you can come alongside them and help them promote, help them be moving their business to the next level. Okay, so that's our scenario here. We're tuning in, focusing in on lead, star, and superstar consultants. So I've clicked the boxes in front of those three titles. Now, when I run the report, those are the only consultants I'll see. So what just happened to our list of 15? Now it's 3. How manageable are 3? No scrolling, no sorting, no anything. It's just right there. You can see it. You can see right here, there's those titles I chose. I don't see anybody else, right? And we've still got that PRV range in there. So it still has my other filter parameters in there. This lets me narrow down the focus. So if I just have 15 minutes, I don't even have to sort through the 15. I've got exactly the consultants I want to work with and be able to come alongside and do some coaching. Now, let me ask you a quick question here. What do you notice about TWV and GWV? When you're looking at this report, they are exactly the same. That is right. Absolutely the same. Same number. Why is that? Why are they the same? No director. Yeah, right? So until there is that director, it's just the GWV, right? There's no TWV in there. So could we simplify this report a little bit more? We absolutely could. Here's how you do that. You can go to choose visible columns. If you click on that, it's going to open up this window. On the left side here are all of the columns that come up automatically in the default. So it happens automatically every time you open up a leadership report or a director report. This is what you're going to see. A downline report. Sorry, I think I said director there for a sec. Each of these represents a column. There's a minus sign at the end of each row. You can click that minus sign and take it away. Remove it. On the right-hand side is a really big list of additional columns you can choose to add if there's more information that would be helpful to you in this report. And all you do is click the plus sign at the end of those rows and then hit OK. So in this case, to simplify this report, to really narrow it down, get rid of everything else that's distracting, we're going to click the minus sign on TWV and team. Click that OK button. And now our report looks like this. So it is gone from many lists, many names to that list of 15 and now down to 3. So I have really laser focused this report to only be the information that is helpful to me for reaching out to these team members and celebrating what's happening in their business and highlighting what could be happening if they took some steps in particular areas. Okay. So let's try one. Let's imagine you want to reach out to this consultant. What kinds of things could you celebrate with this lead consultant looking at this report? And it's totally okay to unmute and just jump right in there. What could you celebrate?
Your first consultant's got 493 PRVs, so close to leadership numbers, but they're not paid a title.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about that, the highlighted row? If we all,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. If we kind of look at that one in particular, what can we celebrate there, Jen?
Let me see, I'm scrolling over. They could possibly promote to lead consultant. Wait, I'm having a hard time seeing this, guys. I'm on my phone.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. So right now,
They're GWV. They've got 3 active frontline. No, 1 active frontline. Yeah, she paid a title.
okay. Okay. Any other things stand out to you if you were trying to celebrate the things that are happening right now? Could you give her a call and say, hey, you are, just right at that 400, only 100 more, and you've got that $500 PRV minimum, right? Helping her see how close she really is. Or Jen, I think you mentioned her GWV. She's 1,000. I mean, that's less than, she's less than 50 away.
Yeah.
So that's that's like giving it up, right? That's a celebrate because you have done so fantastic this month. Look how close you are to those paid title requirements. And then, of course, if you're highlighting what could be happening, some of that kind of comes in that how close she is, right? So helping her see what could she do. I am just looking here at the chat. Can you all hear me? You hear me okay? Thumbs up? Okay. Yeah, let me know if that changes. Anyway, so looking through, are they where they need to be paid at title? Are they close to a promotion? You get to come alongside and help identify those things. Narrowing your reports to be just the information you need can be really helpful for maximizing your time and helping you create meaningful conversations with those team members. Okay, let's move on here for a minute. Up here at the top, you also have this saved report option. If you have taken the time to narrow a report down so that it looks just the way you want it for what you're working on right now, hit that saved report button, and it's going to drop it into those saved reports in the column on the left. Now, it's super easy. How many? I don't know. Maybe I should ask. Maybe I shouldn't ask. Anybody have a long list of saved reports over there? Maybe. Yeah. So as you're building those things and you have different things you're looking for each month or different times of the month, as you've narrowed those reports down, add them to that saved area. So then it's just one click, right? You just open that report and you can see exactly what you need. You don't have to take time to go back and put it all together. And then there's this button, and I shouldn't say nobody, maybe all of you already know this, but a new team member will not. So be sure to share. You cannot see the delete report button while you're in this view. So sometimes people save and save and save, and they've got reports in there from 2019 that they haven't been using now for 2 years, and they don't know what to do. It's now instead of scrolling through their team members, they're scrolling through their reports to get where they want to be. You can delete reports. There is a delete report button, but it is not visible unless you are inside a saved report. So to see the delete report option, you actually have to open a saved report, and then you can click delete and it goes away. Okay, so another one of those little tidbits just to help people out, because they start saving and that can get a little bulky. So help them kind of know how to manage all of those. All right, you also have that export to Excel option. Okay, and of course, now once it's in Excel, before you send it to Excel, sometimes when you're looking at a report like this, and maybe it's in your saved reports, you can also move the columns around. So for example, if it's helpful to you to have whatever it is, like will terminate over here by their name, which you can't see right now, you can just click the title, drag those columns around, move it, set it up however you want it, and save it. It'll be like that for you. When you export it to Excel, I don't think it keeps that column order. I think it puts it back in the like the default order when you export, but you'll still have everything there. All right. Okay. Awesome. Love the chat there. Okay. So let's try a different scenario. Let's imagine let's not imagine, let's just say everyone wants to promote new directors. Okay. So yeah, there are a number of different ways you could set up a report that would help you focus in on the team members that you could work with for that promoting to director. Okay. So in this case, just as an example, what I've done here is I've used those additional filters, the minimum and maximum, and I've put 0 in the generation. And so by putting 0 in the generation, that has narrowed my report down to this list of consultants. Why would I put 0 in the generation? Any ideas? Any thoughts on why I put 0 in there? Yeah, the people right under you. Okay, so no other directors between you. And if you are looking for a first gen director, then you don't want any other directors between you and them, right? So I put 0 in the generation. I didn't change the level at all, because as long as there's not another director in between, it doesn't matter what the level is. They could still be a first gen director for you. And then I just clicked title to do a sort in that column to put it in descending order. So I have the star consultants at the top. And now I can kind of work with this report. I can open this up each time and be able to see how each of these people that are in that position in my team that could become a first gen director for me, or for you in this case, to see where they're at with their business. So let's take a look. We've got a highlighted consultant here. This is a star consultant. So first off, what is something that this consultant we could celebrate with this consultant? If we want to reach out and have a conversation with her, let's start with what we can celebrate. Sylvia, 2000 PRV. Yes. And why do we want to celebrate 2000 PRV? Bonus 5%, right? Yeah, we don't want to leave any of that on the table. So celebrate that. You can, she's there. Absolutely. What else can we celebrate? Paid at title, Amanda. She's met, we can go right through, check all of those requirements. If she's made all those requirements, she's all set to be paid at title. Okay, anything else here? Okay, all of those things. How's she doing? Would she be close to a promotion? If she's already being paid at title,
That might be your next question, right? If she's not being paid a title, that's where to start, right? That's first question. If you can help even lead consultants, if every person on your team, no matter what the title, can be paid at title, it will be an automatic, it like boosts that confidence and makes them feel like, oh, well, maybe I can do Sensi. Maybe I can do the business, right? You see, anything else in there? Is she close to, where would you have her focus her business energy to work towards a promotion? PR fee is well above what she needs for paid a title, right? So if you go right down the line, how is that GWV? See, about 3,000 away from promotion. Yeah. Okay. But by doing that, it lets you know exactly where she's at. And now when you reach out, you can highlight those possibilities. And recruiting. Yeah. So you're not, so you can see that, right? Here's what you need for GWV. Here's the area you need to focus on. Now come alongside with the activities. How do you help her get there? So recruiting would be one of those ways. She has a new teamie. Yes, that's a celebrate, right? Yes, I'm so glad you saw that. Who was that? It's moving, it moved on me. Okay, Jen, yeah. So all of the things you can celebrate and anything that you can highlight that keeps her moving in the direction that takes business forward for her. Let's take a look here. Here's just a different scenario, using those filters a little different. So in this case, maybe these are, if you already have directors, you still want to be promoting new directors, but you also want to be maintaining your first gen directors. So think about what you would put in those filter options, the minimum and maximum, to narrow this report down, to be able to just get a quick view of your first gen directors. So we have that one in the generation. And then I've also changed the titles. So I'm not seeing everyone. I'm just seeing the directors, because this is my report that's going to help me focus only on maintaining my first gen directors. So would you be checking this at the beginning of the month, middle of the month, end of the month? When would you check this? Oops, let's see. Mid-month. Okay, Amanda, why would mid-month be helpful to check this, to check in on my first gen directors? Okay, the way to be honest and own it, right? I know that you all check your reports often, daily. But yeah, you're giving them time to work on things so that they don't miss that paid at title, or they know where they're at, and I'm coming alongside to encourage them to avoid that DQ spot, right? Keep things moving forward for them. Okay. Let me just check here. One more time. The celebrate, here's one of your directors. What could you celebrate with this director? You've narrowed this down. You've come in, you've got a quick minute, taken a look. It's mid-month. What can you celebrate with this particular director?
It looks like she's paid at title already.
Okay, she was already paid a title, absolutely. So that would be a celebrate, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What else could you celebrate? Anything else stand out to you? She was definitely paid a title there for director. How about her GWV? Are my eyes just getting tired, or is her GWV like over the requirements for superstar director? Does anybody else see that? Yes, Sylvia. Her GWV is clear up there in the SSD range, right? So we can start looking at this and making some, celebrating what is happening that she might not even realize because SSD is not maybe on her radar right now, right? She's a director. So help her see your GWV is nice and solid for promoting. So let's take a look at where are the gaps, what's missing, and come alongside. In this case, if we want to highlight what could be happening, what would we be highlighting for her? What are some things you could highlight that could be happening for this director? Yeah, I love that. Good foundation. Absolutely. What could we highlight? What are the possibilities for her? If we want to help her work her business, where could we recommend that she focus to work towards that promotion? We already know she's being paid a title, and we know she's got super solid GWV. What does she need in order to promote?
We're obviously a chat group. I think all the answers are in the chat. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
unmute.
I keep trying to look over there too. Yep. Okay, she needs to identify her leaders. Okay, so helping her to add to those first gen directors, right? Okay, this is actually one of those moments where a bar report would be really handy, which would be another conversation. But she needs TWV. Okay, so you're taking a look to see where she's at, what she needs, and then coming alongside and saying, oh my word, your GWV is rock star. You are superstar director material. You've already got that GWV. Let's see what you need. Where can we focus on? How can we help you get that promotion to star director? Because you are well on your way. And then you can focus in on the areas that she needs, right? Yeah. Okay. So she's right in there.
She definitely needs to grow her team more.
Yeah.
Because a team of 17, if she were to promote a director out of that, would make it even smaller. And then she probably wouldn't be able to sustain her TWV requirements as a star director or an SSD.
Okay.
So I think she would need to focus more on sponsoring more people and her team sponsoring more people.
Yes, I love that. The personal and team recruiting, sponsoring, right, is going to help. So I love the way you're looking at all the different columns there, Katrina, and you've got lots of backup here in the chat with she needs to do some recruiting and she needs to build that team. Absolutely. So does that help a little bit to see how that narrowing down, getting rid of columns that you don't need, or getting rid of even consultants that you're not needing to look at for this particular area you're focusing on, can be helpful. I would even guess there's some columns that like we used to have a column that said brands. And if you've been around a while, I would guess that if we opened up your reports, there might be the brands column in some of your saved reports, but we actually don't have brands. So that's one of those columns, that's when somebody's trying to learn reports and they're trying to get comfortable with it, anywhere you can eliminate distractions or extra information that's not helpful can make it feel so much easier to read that report and get the information you need. So using some of those filters and functions to narrow it down. Okay, so I want to talk about one quick thing here. We've just got a couple minutes, then we'll take a couple questions. I just want to also make sure that you know that you can do any of these functions. So you can use the additional filters, you can do this, choose visible columns, you can do all of those things even on a saved report. Okay, so in this case, I've opened up the saved report that every consultant has access to, the essential to certified report. And so when you open this up, it's showing you, this is for you from your perspective, or it would be. And I added, so I did a filter option. So I would just see that level 1. And then I opened up choose visible columns and I added the enroller column. Can you think of any reason, any occasion when an enroller column would be a helpful thing to know who enrolled someone when you're dealing with that essential to certified consultant promotions? When would that be helpful? Amanda, I am a visual learner too. I'm glad this is helpful for you too. It helps me to see it. Any ideas? Okay, we've got some reinstates, roll-ups. Okay, all of those things can be impacted here. Absolutely. Let me ask you one other question. If you were working towards annual mentor, does it make a difference who enrolled the people that promoted? Yeah, absolutely. Whitney, I see you there. I see you there. Yes, yes, it does. It matters. It makes a difference. For annual mentor, they need to be consultants you personally enrolled. And sometimes I have a question come up with reporting that says, but it's showing me I have all these people right here. It's telling me that I have all of these people who have gone from, essential to certified. So it should qualify. But that enroller column isn't always a part of this report. That's something that I've just added as for this example. And so sometimes someone has rolled up or there's been some shifting in the team. And so maybe 1 or 2 of those people that they thought counted toward annual mentor for them actually didn't. So as you're thinking about the information that you are looking for, just keep in mind, maybe once in a while, go visit that choose visible columns options and just look at everything you could add. Doesn't mean you need to add it, but if something like enroller is helpful for what you're working on right now, go ahead and add it. And it's okay. You can do all of those modifications even to a saved report. Okay, so let me, all right, so I'm going to show you one picture real quick as we kind of begin to, let me go back just a moment. There's a question here. Curious about under choose visible columns. What does, that's like, all the bells and whistles should go off right now because MTWV, that is a really fantastic question. And it comes up periodically. It is actually a column that is something that's used in the back office on the home office side. So it's actually something that wouldn't necessarily apply to your report needs. It may be, we've got a couple of them in there that they're working on adjusting so that they don't pop up on the front side. And that was one of them. So great job noticing that was a weird one. So that is one of those, it has to do with kind of being in process, like throughout the month. So where right now, if I were to open that up on a closed report, it wouldn't show as even an option to add. But so you can ignore that one. I apologize that it's there because that is confusing, but they're in process of tightening that up to eliminate some of that confusion. Thank you, Katrina, for the question. Okay, here's this picture. I just want to show you this picture real quick. This toolbox filled with screwdrivers makes me flash back on my childhood. Okay, and I want to tell you why. When I was just a little girl, my dad did a lot of woodworking,
and I like to help out. It's fun to get out there with dad and do some projects. And so I thought, one day he's working on things and he said, could you go get me a screwdriver? And I'm like, yes, this is something I can totally do. I can go get that screwdriver. So I go in and I open the toolbox that looked much like what I just showed you. And to my surprise, there's a bazillion screwdrivers. There are long ones, short ones, there are square ones, star ones. I mean, who even knew that there could be so many different kinds of screwdrivers? And then for a moment, I was overwhelmed because I'm like, what one do I pick? They're different in some little way. And I didn't know what he needed. And then let's just be honest, for a second, I was like, oh my word, my dad has a problem with collecting screwdrivers. I mean, seriously, who needs that many? And sometimes when people are coming into the workstation reporting section specifically, it can feel like that toolbox that has like a million screwdrivers and you're like, which one do I need? What function? What do I need? If you can kind of go through and think through, what is it I want to identify? And then pop those ranges in, simplify things down, get rid of what's not helpful, because that's visual overload, just narrow it down using those core functions and help your team members do that too, so they don't feel overwhelmed. And then also keep in mind that collecting isn't always that helpful, right? My dad had this huge collection of screwdrivers, but he only needed one at a time. He didn't use them all the time. And if you actually look at my toolbox, it has a handful of the go-tos. And I think as you get more comfortable with your reports and you help your team members do that, they'll be able to eliminate that overwhelming feeling because they know how to narrow it down, and they just have the go-tos. Create your go-tos. Think about what you're trying to accomplish with your business. Are you trying to promote? Are you trying to be paid a title? All of those kinds of things. And focus your reports down. Get rid of all the extra. It's super easy. I'm just going to be honest from personal experience. It's super easy to be a collector of reports. You can have a whole bunch of them. But unless it helps you get in there with your team member and celebrate what is happening and highlight what could be happening and turn that into action steps, you just got a toolbox that looks like my dad's. And so I hope that in this process, this has helped a little bit to just narrow things down, and stick those core, functions and features to help you just get real specific about what you're looking for and when to be looking for them. Any quick questions while we're wrapping up here? I know it's end of day for everybody. And so I just appreciate you so much. You have stuck in there for all of this. Any quick questions? Trimming the fat on the workstation. Absolutely. Make it useful. Okay. If something does come up, if you have a question, please reach out. You are doing amazing things with your business, and we just want to continue to support you however we can. So knowing you've got a question, lets me help you, with an answer. So if something comes up later on, please don't hesitate to give a shout and say, hey, what about this? Or how did that function work again? Okay. Whitney, anything else I can answer for you?
I don't know if I don't want to put you on the spot, but a question I get a lot, maybe you can explain this better than me, but on the report for projected title, projected rank, do you have anything, well, even in writing that we could, like, I'm a visual person, to explain what exactly that means and what they're looking at when they're looking at their people, because it's embedded in me, so I know what that means, but it's hard for me to explain to people this is what they are when they start. This is what they're going to be, the rank is what they're going to be paid at that month. And if they, do you have an explanation for that?
Yeah.
Or
It sounds like you are doing a great job, actually, and you're right on track. It is a little bit of a funny thing to see all those columns. It is also something that you will only see those columns on an open month. So if you look at a report that's closed, those columns won't be visible because the month is over, right? So projected title, projected rank, those are only visible in like right now in March because it's the open month. And it is doing exactly like you were describing, Whitney. So title is the highest title you've received. That's your highest promotion. Projected title and projected rank are what your current numbers are identifying that you would be paid at if the month were closing. Does that help at all? It's kind of a funny thing, but if you look at the choose visible columns in an open month, you'll see those projected columns in the default area, but in a closed month, they're in the optional area because if it makes a difference if it's opened or closed. The projected just means this is what it looks like you're going to reach right now. Instead of what you actually are. Once it's closed, then the projection goes away because this is how it actually turned out. But I could look at writing up, sending you a little description, Whitney, that you could post and share. Like, I'm not sure if this is going like in a Facebook, if you have a team Facebook group or something where it might be shared. So you could maybe put that description of those columns in the comments or something. Would that be helpful?
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, that paid at title, paid at rank.
You're paid at rank for the month of your title though, and that's why it gets confusing. So, okay.
Yes, absolutely. To be streamline that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.